Everyone, I'm sure the place is full. Well, I'd just want to state here now that this is our first time we're doing the free appraisals on Friday. So, anyone watching this, I don't expect to get a lot of people here tonight because it was short notice. But every Friday, we're going to do a free appraisal Friday where you can come on, chat about antiques, have a laugh, have a beer with me, that kind of way, and show your items and get a free appraisal. So anyway, this is something we're going to do now for all of our customers and friends, and I'm more than happy to do it. So completely free service, and like I say, everyone gets a free item on Friday to get appraised, have a chat about anything you'd like me to talk about in the antique world. More than happy to do it. But this is kind of a little, get to know Newfoundland antiques, learn about what we do, all that kind of fun stuff. And probably be a good liaison for our auctions and our sales and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyway, guys, I'm not going to keep the live open for very long unless I see people come in. I don't expect there to be a lot of people here right now because, like I say, the time was very short. This was an idea I just kind of popped in my head recently. And but anyway, moving forward now, we will do this every Friday, and yeah, hopefully it'll gain some good traction, and it's a good opportunity for people. So, you can ask me any question you want, pop up any type of item across the board, and we'll help you out. And if you're interested in insurance appraisals, not a problem. If you're interested in anything at all, by all means, let me know. More than happy to provide the service. Okay. So anyway, I'll just leave the live open for a little bit. I don't expect many people to be here tonight, but yeah. So if you are watching this after the fact, we're not a bunch of losers with no followers. So it's just one of those things. I see one person here. Identify yourself, person, and let's see who you are, if you're known to me or not. But you don't even need to be in our group to get a free appraisal. All you got to do is just pop into the live. So anyway, that's the best I can do for you. There's Mr. Lewis Cook. How are you, buddy? Good to see you, Lewis. We're doing this little. We're going to be doing a free appraisal Friday every Friday now. People can come on, talk about antiques, get their items appraised. Just a little shit session about antiques and what have you, and for our followers and what have you. So it's a little bit of fun and a good opportunity to showcase some items. For instance, this piece here. I don't know if you guys have seen these before. For the two people that are in the group right now. But anyway, this is a baby narwhal tusk. So how cool is that, huh? So as you can see, it's already starting to shape form with the swirls and stuff. But this piece here would have been inside the skull, or very little of it would have been protruding. You can actually see some brain matter. But anyway, pretty cool, huh? Want me to send you a pic of something to appraise? Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Anything that you're interested in having an appraisal done, by all means, let me know. Hey, Presley, how you making out? Yeah, so this is our first free appraisal Friday. We're going to be doing it every Friday, and like I said, it's probably a good little idea to get people, interested in some items and get a free appraisal done. Talk about antiques, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask, by all means. It's just a way to get the group moving along, and that service we provide. And what does Mr. Lewis send me? Oh, Lewis Cook. What do you got there? Oh, cool, man. That is cool. Wow. That's from Belgium. Wow. That's World War II, I guess, buddy. That is neat, Lewis. Love it. Wow. Lewis, why don't you pop that in our private chat group? Because what we'll do is we'll filter people from here into our private chat group. And wow, that is really cool. I love the glass eye, too. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is neat, brother. Well, far be it for Lewis to put in something so unique that it's like, oh, wow, crazy. Well, we all know what the glass eyes are worth, right? That one seems to be pretty cool. It's, I don't mean to be rude, but nothing special about it, I don't think, my buddy. But the glass eye, is worth, between 50 and 150 bucks on a good day, but still pretty cool. Real nice piece. They're always neat. Something in my career, I've never owned a glass eye like that. In all seriousness, we never see them up here. People up here, they just put a patch on and that was it. They never bothered with the glass eyes. Apparently, it's something that just we don't see. So, pardon the pun, but yeah. So it's pretty cool. But man, that Belgian piece, that is neat, brother. That is really really neat. I love that piece. Yeah, it is cool. So yeah, you just pop that in the group so people can see it. So that's awesome. That'd be interesting to see what other people think of your items too. Like it's always neat to show off some of our finds as we go along. And I picked up a huge estate earlier today. As a matter of fact, um, there's a lot of beer steins from Germany in there. Yeah, so that's like trench art from. Uh, is it World War I trench art, Lewis? Like it's interesting that it has the Belgium name on it, right? It's like it looks World War II ish to me, but the name, when it has Belgium, it was like the trench warfare, right? Interesting. It was definitely trencher, but the skull, man, that's crazy. Oh, yeah, I kind of figured it was World War I. Yeah, I love it personally. Like, it's always hard to kind of put prices on unique items because, market dictates the price, obviously, right? It goes back to the whole adage that, something's worth what someone will pay. But what people don't realize is there's so many reasons why something can have value and so many things that affect the value of pieces. So, for instance, this is a letter opener, right? So let's just say it's a generic letter opener. Okay, it's $20. Now let's just say it's made out of silver. Okay, well now you have an intrinsic value that's on top of that. That beefs it up. Let's just say it was owned by George Washington for argument's sake. That makes it worth more and more again. And this is the trap people fall in. They think that there's going to be a book somewhere where this piece is there and there's a dollar figure attached to it, but it's antiques is very ambiguous when it comes to that stuff, and it doesn't operate that way. And in many cases, we have to use logic, the availability of it, how hard it is to replace, desirability. Something can be old and not vintage, not valuable, et cetera, et cetera. So, when we look at a piece, we have to take all these things into account. So, like your piece, Lewis, you'll never find that in a book with a dollar figure attached to it. But if I were to own it, I would put a $500 price tag on it. Now that's just my gut feeling, but again, you can put it at various different auctions, and the sky's the limit. But I figured around that $500 mark would be neat. Sometimes trench art goes really high, sometimes it doesn't. I have a real nice shell casing with Belgium on it as well from World War I. That's like a cane holder, and beautifully done. And anyway, I paid somewhere around $200-300 for it. But yeah, thanks for the challenge. I love the challenge. The skull component really makes it cool, man. I gotta say, you don't see the for all the trench art I've had over my career, it's very seldom that you see pieces that kind of image death, like the skull component. Normally, it's an ashtray or a shell casing turned into something, regiment notified, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But to see something like that is pretty cool. So, yeah, thanks, man. Starting her off with a blast. Love it. Love it, love it. What's this kind of stuff now? What's Presley saying? And guys, my apologies for last night. We had a week from fucking hell here, man. Yeah, I have tons of A's. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Very few are macabre. And again, like uh, the price point is is one of those things where it's very ambiguous because you get two people in a pissing contest over it, and the sky can be the limit, right? Like I remember one time I sold a bayonet at a local auction here. I put it in, the bayonet was broken off, and like Jesus Christ, you give me $20 for it, I would have been happy. Anyway, these guys got in a piston match, and I got $500 for it. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. So anyway, I gave the guys a perfect one for the next auction, and that one's broken off. I got $500 for it, so I figured the perfect one I get so much more. And anyway, I got $100 for the perfect one. So it's the game we play in this world, right? But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I gotta say, I picked up a lot of these guys today. Now this one here is made from metal, which is really cool. But I got a lot of ebony wooden ones, and anyway, the guy thinks they're haunted. But anyway, it's pretty cool. But anyway, what do you think of this guy? So I picked up this one of the pieces I picked up today. I really appreciate it. Oh, I was gonna look at, but that's pretty cool. It's kind of recent, so now I think, but when COVID happened, I kept some of the sanitizer bottles. Yeah, that's interesting. And see, the thing that we like, what personally put in the group there for anyone who's not seeing it, is he says it's kind of recent, so not antique. But when COVID happened, I kept some hand sanitizer bottles made from the spirit companies, blah blah blah. And what people don't realize too is antiques. The world of antiques is always changing, and as something moves out, something moves in. And what's junk today, like everything when it's created, like for instance, say this piece here, for argument's sake, it's just to use it as an arbitrary figure. When this is made, it's new, it's cool, it's a little bank. Then it goes through the period of what I call the junk period, where no one appreciates it, and we see it time and time again across the board of different antiques. You got to go through that junk period where it could wind up in a yard sale for 25 cents, or be tossed to the dump, and then it comes into the collectible and vintage and antique genre. And that's when people are like, shit, I threw that out 20 years ago. Man, I really want that back, or what have you. Like, the stretch glass pieces. I remember picking those up at yard sales for 25 cents. I remember the first, like, it's funny, what sticks out in your mind, and, when you got a career that spans a couple decades. But, I remember the first person that paid me $10 for a stretched glass piece. And I thought she was insane because you could pick that stuff up for pennies. And like, I can remember her name. I'm not going to say her name, but she sticks out in my mind because she told me, she said, no, this stuff is junk now. She said, but I'm gathering it up because I know it's going to be worth something down the road. And I'm like, yeah, something, I can see that. I can see people appreciating it down the road, but definitely not right now. And when she paid $10 for that piece, which is a very minor amount of money, you could pick that stuff up in yard sales for, nothing really. And now that very piece, a couple $100, it's amazing how things move in and move out and all that kind of fun stuff. And there's certain things that stay, like coins and stuff like that. But those are good investments, obviously. But sometimes things. What's this? What's this? Give me a second, guys. A message popped in. Sorry, I thought that was in the group. That was a guy selling hunting patches. So it's always something that pops up, right? The feed is lagging. I don't blame it because, man, we've had horrible weather here. Um, I drove out from St. John's today, and I thought the truck was going to blow off the road a couple times. Man, the weather here this past week have been absolute hell. We've had so much damage done. It's absolute craziness, and So can we do a leg check just to see? There's only a few people here. Like I say, we kind of did this one pretty quick, but every Friday now moving forward, we're going to have a free appraisal Friday, so people can come in and show their items. And hell, if you want to sell me items, rock and roll, man. It's all good. I don't care. This is a little bit of a little shit show to have a chat with the customers and interested people and all that kind of fun stuff. Just like a little liaison thing. Hey, Carl, welcome aboard, buddy. A good point to make, and what I tell people looking for an appraisal is it's a conflict of interest if they're Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you always need a third party. Like, I'm one of these stupid people. Like, if someone comes to me and they says, "What's it worth?" Well, that's not my job to do a free appraisal for you. Especially when I'm trying to buy it. But if you come to me and you say, "Bon, I want an appraisal. Here's the money, and what's it worth?" I will be professional and I'll tell you exactly what it's worth, and I'll take the money and blah blah blah. And if you want an insurance appraisal, that's fine. If you do not pay me for the appraisal, but you want to sell it to me, well, that's the game we play. And you're not going to get a free appraisal. I'm not going to cut my own throat, right? So it's very simple. And one thing that I always do, and it's just a little thing that kind of I don't know, it sets me apart or whatever. I will never make the first offer on an item. I'd rather let it pass than make the first offer. And like I tell people, I go into Walmart. I don't tell them to set the prices. I don't pick out items and say, I want to pay this, or what's this? The price is the price. Now, what do you want for it? If it's sensible, we'll negotiate or we'll talk about it or what have you. But I never make first offers, never, and I don't give a shit what it is. Yeah, right on, man. Appreciate the call. Anything we can do, man, is always cool. But yeah, you always got to be careful of the conflict of interest when it comes to stuff like that because, there's a lot of people out there that try to do stuff like that. Another thing I do too, I buy estates, right? Like very, very rarely will I buy one item or two items off someone. It's like some people have collections and, like I buy museums for Christ's sakes, that kind of way. But, like I always like to make money on the way I make my money is I go in and I say, how much you want for everything? And, someone's got a house full of antiques. Well, I want $10,000 and or 20,000 or 5,000, whatever the number is generally a larger number. But due to the estate being what it is, that's how you make your money rather than going in and cherry picking, right? So then you get to go with the bad and all that kind of crap. I remember one time, it's so comical. Uh, one time I was actually in university at that point in time. I was doing my undergrad. I had a guy working for me, and he would go around and find stuff, and he'd call me when he found stuff, and blah blah blah. And I always gave him like a $10,000 purse that he could, use and what have you. And anyway, he called me. He said, "Bonnie," he said, "I need you to come out." I said, "Jesus Christ," I said, "I'm in university now, man. I got a class." He said, "No," he said, you got to come." He said, "It's too big." And he said, I don't want to lose it. And I know I don't have enough money." I said, "Jesus Christ, man, you got 10 grand belong to me." And he said, "Yeah." He said, this is a big one." So I said, "All right." So I jumped in the car and I drove out. And man, what stuff this person had. Anyway, she just inherited this estate, blah, blah, blah. And my buddy was there. Ken was his name. He, he was trying to feel her out where she was on the estate. How much she want? Did she want $10 or 10,000 or 10 million? That kind of way. And he couldn't feel her out. So anyway, I went out and she was a tough old goat, I gotta say. And anyway, I was talking to her and trying to feel her out what kind of price she was at. And anyway, like I say, Ken was frightened to death to offer her 10 grand. He said if you offered her 20, he said it'd be a deal. So anyway, I went out and she had the gear, I gotta say. And I was talking to her and trying to feel her out and what where she was price point wise. So I thought about it. I said, Jesus, maybe I'll offer her 5 grand, just to hit her hard to see what it's a starting point, right? And again, I never make first offers, but this person you just couldn't deal with. She was a tough old goat, I gotta say, man. She was tough. And Anyway, I told her, I said, ma'am, I don't want to insult you. I said, I hope you're not offended. You got some beautiful stuff. I said, but there's a lot of trucking and a lot of cost involved to get it from here to there and all that stuff. I said, how does five sound? And she looked at me, five. And I thought she was going to eat me. And I said, yes, five. No, not a chance in hell, she said. If I can't get $1,000 for it, she said, I'm not selling it. And anyway, I offered her 5,000, but she thought I meant 500. And I said, oh, you want $1,000 for everything? And she's like, yes. She said, if I don't have $1,000 for this, nothing is going nowhere. I said, all right. I said, you know, I said, tell all your friends how good I treated you and how easy I was to deal with and get you your cash and stuff. I said, and I'll give you $1,000. Yes, she said, give me $1,000. So anyway, I give her the 10 hundreds. And she took it and she put it right down between her two tits. She said, no, I'm going to bingo. She said, let me know when you got it all at the house. And anyway, we brought in the transport trucks, loaded it all up, and off we went. But anyway, that's people, and that's one of the few stories that I have where I actually made the first offer. But I got to say, it was just because she was so contrary. There was a bedroom set in there. On the way back, I sold it for 6,500 while I was driving in the car. So anyway, just a little story about the antiques. That was back in what? Probably 2000. So Kyle, where are you two, man? Driving on the road or what? How heavy are the narwhal tusks? They're not overly heavy, man. They're um 1 second. Like a good narwhal. Geez, to be honest with you, I don't think I ever weighed one. Narwhal tusk. What? Jesus. I suppose I can get one. Hang on. No, I can't get one right now. They're not really heavy. 4 or 5 pounds each, I suppose. They're not really heavy. Narwhal tusk. Now, as they go in length, they actually become very large on the bottom, and I would say like one that's an 8 footer. Oh, gee, like I actually got to weigh one. That's bugging me now. Like they're not heavy. Um, like they're no more than 20 pounds, like that kind of way, right? Like and that's a big one, But now, I'm pretty when it comes to lifting weights. It's not. I used to deadlift 600-700 pounds for fun, shrug with 500. So when it comes to these lower weights, I'm not really great with judging. I just lift off 50 pounds with my pinky and saw my name on the wall. So I'm probably not the best one to judge those small weights, but I will weigh one because you got me interested. And another thing about narwhal tusks, they are hollow at the bottom. Like this one here, this is actually a narwhal tusk. So he's not very heavy. So there you go. That's the size of him. But anyway, if you were to crack this off, he would be hollow to about right here. And as they grow, like get larger, the hollow part kind of moves up a little bit, like to kind of make, I don't know if I'm making sense there, but it does move up a little bit, so they're, you know, and then of course it becomes full. I have narwhal medallions there too. Do, 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 do. Ooh, Kyle sent what the name I got. Now that's neat, Kyle. That is very neat, buddy. Did you pop it in the group? You did. Good job, Kyle. It does look like a dinosaur egg, sir. Yeah. Now there was a huge issue with dinosaur eggs 4 or 5 years ago. The ones coming out of China, a lot of them were faked. So where did you get that piece, Kyle? And when? Now, basically, I can tell you it's authentic just by looking at it, but and it does look to be a hadrosaur. Come to think of it, yeah, that's a really cool piece, buddy. Um, you didn't get it X-rayed or anything, and no information. You just bought it as it is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, it is kind of difficult to tell without it being like in my hand, say, but it definitely does look like dinosaur eggs that I've seen before. Not X-rayed, no. I got it from somebody that normally sells amber, but I talked to them and they had quite a few years. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, it's definitely like it definitely looks like a dinosaur egg. I'll be honest with you. The problem with it is it's almost too perfect. Normally they're kind of crushed, but it definitely does look to be a hadrosaur. I'm just when it comes to rocks and fossils, that is not my area of expertise. I'm pretty good at it. I make out I don't know so much about rocks and shit, but I do know more than I lead on. But so I don't want people to ask me fucking questions like this. To be honest with you, but anyway, I'm the antique dude, whale bones, shit like that. Uh, but anyway, yeah, it definitely looks the part. Yeah, it definitely looks cool, Kyle. I gotta say. And if I were a betting man, I would say it's a hadrosaur. And like you're looking at like to just be legitimate to what we're doing here, which is the free appraisal Friday. So like a hadrosaur egg, um, like they start at around 500 and they go to about 4,000, right? So like 4,000 is kind of top of the mark and you kind of got to bring it into a good auction for that. But a lot of people are really really suspicious over eggs the past couple of years because there was a lot of fakes that came out of China and they were really really good and they fooled a lot of collectors. Like I have a really good collector for fossils and stuff. He's like really really huge and like he just bought a piece like 6 7 million bucks and like this is the type of collector he is. He will not touch an egg because it's there's just too much taboo around it. And sadly the guys in China, when it comes to coins, dinosaur fossils, blah 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 blah, like they're doing a really really good job. Like there's Rolexes now coming out of China that are fake and they're just as good. They look the part, they got the certificates. Like, man, it's nuts. Like, for a fraction of the price of the real ones, right? So we always had to be cognizant of where they come from and all that stuff. Not to say that yours is that, but what my point is that it may hurt uh it hurts the market when this stuff happens, and it kind of goes into that area where, it's kind of taboo, and you're like, oh, geez, do I want to buy it? Do I want to take the chance, right? Pokemon and baseball cards too. Yeah, sure, bring it on, man. I've seen good gold. Yes, and so have I, sir. Yeah, I gotta say, man, the bastards, they're really good. Like, let me see if I got any handy. Uh, I use these as teaching aids because they're so good. Like I had a realtor one time, and he came to me, and he's a little bit of an asshole, and Jesus Christ, he knew everything, and so anyway, he asked about coins. I said, yeah, I got coins. And he asked me what and he knew everything about coins, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, right on, that's cool. So anyway, he said he wanted Morgan dollars, he wanted this and that and the other thing. I said, yeah, cool. So anyway, I sold him a bunch of Morgan dollars, and he said, "Can I pay you by check?" Sure, not a problem. So anyway, I took a check. He wrote out a check. I handed it to me, and I took the check and I ripped it up. So give me back the fucking coins. And he looked at me like I had 10 heads. He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Give me back the coins." I said, "I don't want your money." And he couldn't believe it. He said, "Why? My money's not good enough? Like, what the fuck's your problem?" I said, "No." I said, "All those coins are fake." I said, "You just bought a bunch of fake coins because you think you know more than what you do." And I educated that man so well on one, coins, two, trusting someone who you're buying from, and three, like, let's be a little bit humble. You don't know as much as say the dealers do, right? And anyway, he was perplexed. He didn't realize how good the fakes were because he was hearing it from, like, and I'm going back again 20 years or so. And anyway, this is just when the fakes were starting to come out and be really good. And anyway, geez, I suppose he spent probably close on $1 million with me throughout the course of his life after that. But man, he had a shock when he realized what he was buying. And like I told him, I said, you got to be very careful at this racket. And you're going on eBay, you're doing stuff like that. If you don't know what you're buying, or you think you're going to be up shit's creek. And the true way to purchase coins is to buy the certified coins. But man, like I say, it's just some really good shit coming out there, and you got to be careful. And like Lewis says there, with the gold bars, what they do is they put a thin layer of gold plate, and it passes the smell test, right? And when you get down deep enough, it turns into shit. So it's not good. And then people say, "Well, the test that you got to destroy the bar." Well, it is what it is. Gold is gold. So, don't worry about it. But like the people that always buy the ingots, they're probably up shit's creek a little bit more than anyone else, because I guarantee you, there's a high percentage of collectors that collect those ingots that have fakes in their collection and they don't know it, right? But and I've seen some goddamn good ones, and just like shake your head, and I'm like, why am I even buying this stuff? It's just so fucking dangerous, and you do have to destroy the ingot to tell if it's real or not in some cases, right? But man, oh man, what a lot of people are doing is they're buying those little Dremels. I don't have one here right now, but it's almost like a pin, and it's got like a little drill bit, and they take the drill bit and they drill it on the side so it doesn't really kind of hurt the face of it, and they drill in as deep as they can, and that's how they tell, right? Oh, cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. XRF gun. Yeah, I've had some pretty cool guns. I believe my record is over 600 in my collection at one time, or in my business, obviously. I like the muskets myself, and the Browning Bests and all that. I've had some matchlocks, which is the forerunner. Like after the cannons, they had the matchlocks, which was basically a cannon in your hand. Did just as much damage to you as it did the person you were firing at. And then of course the flint and steels, and then you go into the caps, and then, well, after the caps, then that's when all the different mechanisms comes out, like the bolt action, the rolling block. Lewis, have you ever seen a rolling block? Just out of curiosity. Last time I was over in Ukraine, I had it was a rifle or shotgun, sorry, but it had a revolver. You put 8 shells into the revolver shotgun. You fired it just the same as you would like a generic revolver. It was pretty cool. Weighed a ton though. Yeah, I gotta run over to Africa now soon. The new year, I gotta just got a huge window on some ambergris. So there's a lot of stuff over there. So I gotta run over. My guys who are over there, they don't have the authority to buy to buy as much as Buddy's got. So I gotta fly my fat ass over there and pick it up. So that's one thing that's coming up now in the new year, another month or so. So what do you think of the free appraisal Friday where we can shoot the shit about antiques and have a laugh and what's this now? Order confirmation. What did I buy now? So many scams on the go. Oh my God. Just got a notification in, Lewis. You remember that one, Abby Normal? Remember Abby Normal, man? Apparently she's got a museum now. A good starting point would be 500 on that one, Lewis, in my opinion. But again, it's one of those things where you can only estimate it. You know, I think a fair estimate will be 500, and then at an auction, you let the winds of justice, you know, move it to where it should be. But I don't think it'll go for anywhere under 500 because of the macabre factor. Plus, it's Belgium, World War One, so it does hit a lot of you know, little checkpoints for collectors. Just my opinion. If you do want an appraisal done, it's not a problem. Like a written one, I can do that up for you. It's not an issue. But I wouldn't sell that if I were you, man. I'd keep that. It's really cool. You, Lewis, I don't know, $20. Yeah, I definitely keep it. How much you pay? Don't be shy. Being nosy, you know. $80 plus shipping. Well done, buddy. Well done. Yeah, you did good on that one, my friend. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's amazing how someone could sell that for $80 plus shipping. I don't understand that when people would let something like that go for such a cheap price. But anyway, them's the breaks. That's what we compete against sometimes, you know. Yeah, I can imagine. That's kind of where I would be too, buddy, if I seen it. You know, it's like I say, it's World War One trench art. Um, so that alone would put it, you know, $400. The macabre factor is the wall card, right? So you know, like that speaks to freaks like us. You know, like it's cool skulls, and people like skulls, but there's people that don't, right? So you know, it's a give and take. But what I've noticed through my experience is that people that like macabre generally do spend money on that stuff. So, like I say, that is the wild card factor with that piece. But like for someone to like just pop that up for such a small price, man, you got a steal of a deal. So, congratulations on it. And like I say, it's well worth it. Like you know, when I say 500, that is kind of conservative because I think a lot of auction houses, when they put estimates on things, they know that it's probably going to go higher, and I think that will be one of those pieces that would do that. But one thing about auction houses, if you go and put your estimates too high, and like if you put up for $1,000 and goes for 20 or $100, well, then you kind of you lose a bit of credibility. But for some reason, if it's the other way, you don't. You get a lot more people interested in dealing with you because you're kind of conservative, right? So it's comical like that. But just another little one of those little idiosyncrasies of the of the antique business. So if you're ever starting an auction house, you always want to be a prick and give low prices, and then when they go high, people are like, "Oh my God, they're such a great auction house." It's just like Scotty on Star Trek, right? We cannot do it, Captain. We don't have the power. Oh, I can do it in 5 hours. You got 3. Okay, it'll be done in 2. Same concept, right? Speaking of Star Trek, who's seen the new Star Trek that's out? Was it Fleet Command or Starfleet Command or some shit like that? Yeah. Last thing you want to do, like, it's so comical, like Beckett, like going back to cards, right? Like Beckett are always the pricks, right? They're so hard with their grading, and it's like you get a Beckett 9, you got a really really good card, right? And then all these other card grading companies popped up, and like one I remember, Final Authority, like Jesus Christ, you could stamp on the fucking card and send it in, and they'll come back at 10. And what they thought was that, I guess, by being more lax and giving higher grades, that more people would, deal with them, right? Because they got a 10 or whatever. But everyone knew that was all bullshit. But if you got an 8 Beckett, like, you had a nice card. If you got a 9 Beckett, holy shit. If you got a 10 Beckett, you got something in the stratosphere. And that's a concept that a lot of these people didn't realize, right? And well, Beckett is still going strong, and PCGS is still going strong, and all Final Authority and all those ones that popped up giving 10s out and stuff. Well, where are they to now? Gone. Gone like Donkey Kong. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, I figured that what we do, just to get people interested in the antiques, and talking about some stuff, is just to pop on the live every Friday, do a free Friday appraisal for people, just to shoot the shit, have a bit of fun. So I'm glad to see that there's a few people in the room. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you. I'm only drinking beer Fridays anyway. I always take 2 o'clock Friday, I'm off. And then I watch my shows and I have my beer. And that's what I do. And then Saturday I recover and I do probably go hunting or do whatever. And then Sunday's football. So when football ends, well, then I got another day to do permits and shit. So, but right now we're deep into the football season, so Sundays is booked. But there's nothing wrong with talking about antiques and having fun, having a few beer while we're doing it. Rock and roll, right? So anyway. So who's here? We got Kyle, we got Lewis. I see a few people in the room. Speak up, guys. Speak up. Excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second there. I just had a notification pop up. Boy, I bought a lot of books today too on like sailing ships, pirates, World War One, World War Two, stuff like that. So if you guys are interested, I can pop that stuff up. I gotta, when I say I got it, I paid for it. I don't physically have it yet. I'm picking up Monday. That's why I got the notification for it. And I picked up a beautiful moose rack today, man. Gorgeous. Sorry, guys, just had to do that there. If I don't mark it down, I may forget it because life is hectic this time of year. Everyone's writing me about buying stuff. I love Christmas, and then after Christmas, when people get their bills come in, man, it's crazy the stuff that you get the opportunity to buy. It's like everyone gets their credit card bill in. They're like, oh my God, I got so many antiques. Fuck it. And for some reason, they call me. God love them. So I call it the spring thaw. Right after Christmas, you always get a bump, and then when the weather thaws for some reason, the spring thaw always brings the stuff out. It's crazy every year. It's crazy. Well, guys, I guess if there's no one else, you know, talking here, I'm just talking to myself. We've been on for 45 minutes. I guess I'll go back to watch my shows. And thank you very much for coming to our first inaugural Friday or free appraisal Friday. And yeah, let's do it every Friday, man, and laugh. So, anyway, all the best, guys. Thank you very much for coming. So, we'll just put a minute on the clock. If anyone's got any questions or whatever, we'll stay for another minute and then we'll log off and let's do it again next Friday, guys. Yeah, that's a cool piece, Kyle. I really like it, buddy. I really like it. You ever want to do a trade? Let me know. For sale, I'll buy it too. I got money. Kyle, the bidding assassin of those dinosaur eggs. God. I will send out your diamond this week coming, Kyle. I was bombarded with everything that happened there with the weather and the storms and like even here now, like buddy, I drove out over the highway. Like it was so hard keeping the truck on the road. Like you wouldn't believe the wind that's here. Like buddy, 150 easy. It was nuts. And the whole week has been like that with damage and stuff. So anyways, I got to get that done. I was working on permits all week. Got a bunch of permits coming in. Like it's no trouble telling when you're dealing with CITES so much. I sent 14 permits back because of minor errors. I'm like, who the fuck ever does that? 14 permits back. So you know what kind of volume you're going through when 14 have minor errors. So anyway, that's what I was at there today, and so this week coming up, I'm gonna get a bunch of stuff of the smaller stuff and all that stuff. But anyway, man, we got some great. I love the connections, the new connections I got now with all the governing bodies, and it's really awesome. The guys are treating me really great. So and I guess after you've gone through all the audits and stuff that I went through the past few years, they realize that they can't get rid of me anyway, so they're being nice, and it's really cool. So yeah, I got to say, I got a real good group of people there around that are very professional, know their stuff, and like you can actually have like sensible communication where like if I got a question they respond, and if they have a question I respond, and it's good going back and forth. And man, I gotta say, it's knock on wood, it's the best I've had it in my career. So a lot more fucking around than in the past, but I gotta say I'm really really happy with the governing bodies now, and everyone seems to know me. So it is what it is. And on that note, Kyle, you do have some really cool stuff in the permits. One of the errors was yours, as a matter of fact. The I don't know, it was like 4 vertebrae or something. And anyway, there's a minor error on it, so I sent it back. But I'll get that one back now very very soon. They told me they're going to put a speed on it there or whatever. So anyway, just to let you know, my friend. So I always sit down and certain times I'm like, I'm gonna pick on Kyle today. And when I say pick on Kyle, I take your box, I put everything out in front, and I take pictures and I do all the permits. So a while ago I picked on you, Kyle, and I got everything done for you. So anyway, that's just part of it. It's I can't wait to get this glut over with where we're sensible again. And man, we're gonna have a really good setup when it's finally done like that. And so many changes, crazy, absolute craziness. But anyway, it's all part of it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much, and have a great night. Have a great Friday. We do have an auction on Tuesday. It is the horror auction. I postponed it twice now because of the weather and issues we've had, and man, it was just crazy this week. My apologies, but anyway, guys, it's going to be really cool. I got a lot of really interesting stuff lined up. I will do posts in the group. So anyway, and I really appreciate it if you could share these free appraisal Fridays, because I really like to grow it, as a matter of fact. So anyway, guys, have a great night. All the best, and thanks for coming out. All the best. Have a great weekend.